Hello and welcome to IM Movies. The movie begins with the leader of a Yakuza gang getting tattoos from an elderly tattoo artist. The leader complains about the pain and threatens the artist.
Can't kill you until you finish this thing.
As he threatens the artists, one of his boys brings in a letter. He asks him to open it and read, but they only see black sand inside. The tattoo artist is shocked and drops his instrument as he realizes the meaning of the letter. The gang leader asks why he'd reacted that way, and he tells them a story that happened 57 years ago. He tells them how the men involved were killed, and how he had survived because his heart was on the right side of his chest. He shows the scar to the Yakuza henchmen, but they all laugh. Suddenly one of them is killed, and they all begin to panic. The attackers destroy the lights and kill the gang member from the shadows. With his squad gone, the gang leader begs for his life, but the tattoo artist tells him it's of no use because they are demons.
Demons sent straight from hell.
Later, they kill the gang leader and then the tattoo artist. At the Europol headquarters in Berlin, Mika, an investigator, presents evidence of a ninja-related attack on her boss, Maslow. He doesn't believe they exist, so she asks him for an hour to prove the existence of the ninja clan.
All I'm asking for is an hour. That's all.
Maslow grants her the time, and she explains the history of the ninja clan and their demand for 100 pounds of gold to take life. Maslow is interested in the investigation, but he's not sure. At a laundromat, Raizo, a young man, is approached by a young lady pretending to seek help with a piece of cloth. Raizo detects her disguise and asks about her clan. She feigns ignorance but realizes her cover is blown and attacks Raizo. He defends himself and they both fight aggressively. The noise from the fight wakes the laundromat owner from his sleep, and he discovers the lifeless body of the lady inside his washer. The next day, Mika and Maslow are seen discussing the ninja case under a canopy outdoors. Maslow tells her that he had found a file about a KGB agent named Alexis Sabatine that was killed by the ninja assassins. Mika feels relieved that he finally believes her. Meanwhile, Raizo heads to his apartment. On his way, a housekeeper asks him why his room is dark and why he keeps it that way. Raizo responds by saying he likes it that way. He enters his room and checks his weapons if they are still intact. After that, he flashes back to his childhood. In the flashback, an old master Ozunu speaks to a group of children, telling them about the honor of being a member of the Ozunu clan. Young Raizo is introduced to the group and told to treat him like family. Suddenly, Raizo snaps out of the flashback and is shown preparing ramen. He has another flashback to a lecture given by their sensei on how hunger, thirst, and blood is their weakness, showing them his ability to heal wounds almost instantly. He then tells the children to eat that night, so they could fight again the next morning. The next morning in the flashback, Raizo is shown standing in front of a fallen child. The master advises him to be strong and not worry about pain,
You must learn to fear nothing at all.
as it only leads to weakness. Older Raizo snaps out of the flashback, works out for a bit, and then returns to the flashback. This time, young Raizo is carefully walking on light wood while trying to maintain balance. He makes a mistake that upsets the nail. Master Ozunu punishes him by whipping his legs. Despite the pain, young Raizo continues the walk until the end. At night, he is in pain, whining from the severe leg injuries. Suddenly, a girl from his group helps him treat the wounds under his legs. The flashback ends, and Raizo lies in bed, reflecting on his past. Meanwhile, Mika visits Mrs. Sabatine to ask about a report her husband wrote some years ago. Mrs. Sabatine explains how the report made her husband more concerned about security. She tells Mika how her husband had installed lights, sensors, and cameras all over the house, wanting to eliminate shadows. She tells Mika about a man that had visited her husband a day before her husband died. Mika asks her how her husband had died despite security measures, and she says the lights went out.
The lights went out.
Mrs. Sabatine shows Mika some files her husband left behind, which Mika accepts and takes home. Back at home, Mika plays a tape she found in the files, which shows Raizo looking into the CCTV. Meanwhile, Raizo trains with his weapons. At the end of his training session, he has a flashback to his teenage years when he fought against a fellow Ozunu named Takeshi. Raizo almost defeats Takeshi, but Takeshi throws flames at Raizo's face and struck him in the head. The master of the Ozunu clan squeezes Raizo's liver to show him what true pain is, and walks away. Raizo screams loudly as he is left alone in isolation. The next morning, the clan master sees Raizo meditating in the room, and he praises him. Back to the present, Mika gets visited by an agent from Internal Affairs. The agent asks Mika some questions about her lunch dates with Agent Maslow. The agent, identified as Agent Zabransky, warns Mika about Agent Maslow's stress and his health conditions. Later, Mika meets Maslow in a public place, and they discuss their plans since they are now been watched. Later that night, Mika returns home and examines Mrs. Sabatine's documents and learns more about the true existence of the ninja clans. The next morning, Raizo is walking in a market when he has a flashback to the moment he caught his teenage crush, Kiriko, breaking the clan's rules. He warns her, but she tells him that every tree has a heart.
I believe the heart of the tree knows which way it needs to grow.
Raizo tells her he doesn't have, so she listens to his heartbeat and tells him about how much his heart misses him. After the flashback, Raizo is seen practicing his shuriken throws, blindfolded. Once again, Raizo has another flashback of a fight with Takeshi, but this time he is blindfolded. After an intense battle, Raizo manages to launch Takeshi into the air, winning the fight. The next morning, Kiriko fights and defeats a teenage assassin in a fight. The clan master tells her that every failure must but be sewn into the flesh and asks her to cut him. She refuses, and Clan Master Ozunu cuts her instead. Raizo secretly visits Kiriko in confinement at night and gives her some water. The following day, Raizo admires Kiriko as she sharpens her weapon. At night, it starts raining heavily, and Kiriko tries to escape the clan. Raizo tries to stop her, but she has already made up her mind. She tries to convince Raizo to go with her, but he refuses, and she escapes. Back to the present day, Raizo receives a phone call from a Japanese caller and he instantly understands what he needs to do, so he leaves quickly. On his way through the market, a little girl gives him the photo of Mika and her details written on the back. Meanwhile, Maslow secretly meets Mika in the parking lot and informs her about how he's been watched. He gives Mika a firearm and advises her to leave town for her safety. Mika arrives at her apartment and realizes that the power is out. She becomes suspicious and slowly walks to her apartment upstairs and hears movement inside. She enters a room and discovers a letter containing black sand. Suddenly, the black sand pours out of the letter and she is attacked by ninjas in the darkness. Fortunately, another ninja arrives and saves her from them. Mika fires her gun in every direction as the ninjas fight fiercely in the shadows. However, she soon realizes it's of no use and watches as they continue to fight. Raizo, her savior, emerges as the winner. They have a conversation, and Mika learns more about their existence. However, their discussion is interrupted as more assassins begin to approach them. Takeshi is seen leading the group of ninjas tasked with killing Mika. He tells Raizo, "Run, brother, run!"
Run, little brother, run.
There is a flashback to when young Kiriko was caught during her escape attempt. In the flashback, Kiriko is tied to a pole and executed on the spot. Back in the present day, Mika and Raizo are escaping from the ninjas in her car. They introduce themselves,
Raizo. It's the name I was given.
and Mika asks Raizo why he is going against his own clan. This question triggers Raizo's memory of an assassination he carried out with his Ozunu clan master by his side. The clan master tells him that the target was wearing a gold watch and instructs Raizo to bring it to him. After a long fight with the heavily built man, Raizo emerges victorious and takes the gold watch from him. Raizo takes the watch to his master, standing on top of a building. He offers the watch to his clan master, who tells him to keep it. At that moment, another clan member who attempted to escape is brought before him. The Ozunu clan master orders Raizo to kill her to prove his loyalty to the clan. Unable to bring himself to kill her, Raizo cuts his clan master with his kusarigama. The clan master angrily orders the other assassins to kill Raizo. Raizo almost loses his life as he falls from the tall building. Fortunately, he lands in a river, and he survives. Back to the present, Raizo asks Mika to help her in finding Ozunu, as they both make their way to an apartment in Berlin. Mika changes her clothes, and Raizo masks her scent. Mika calls Maslow and asks him to help Raizo find Ozunu. Mika tells Maslow that she trusts him,
I trust him.
All right, look.
and they arrange a meeting location. Later, Mika and Raizo meet up with Maslow, who had set a trap for them. The lights turn on, and agents Taz Raizo and arrest him. Mika is angry at Maslow, but he tells he's only following orders. In a safe house somewhere in Berlin, Mika argues with Maslow about his actions. He takes her to a room and explains to her that he's on her side, but someone is pulling a major string from inside. Maslow gives Mika a tracker and tells her to activate it whenever she needs his help. Mika visits Raizo in his cell and gives him water. She tells him that Maslow is on their side, but Raizo tells her it's already too late,
It's too late.
and the ninjas were already around. Mika rushes to warn Maslow, but it's too late. The lights go off, and everyone is in shock. Mika hurries to Raizo's cell, where he warns them about the coming danger. However, the situation takes a drastic turn as the assassins begin their attack, killing all the guards. Mika finds the key to Raizo's cell and frees him just in time. As Raizo is freed, he defeats a ninja and takes Mika to escape. Raizo tells Mika to wait in the corridor as he kills more assassins. Luckily, Mika manages to reach her car upstairs. leaving only Raizo and the remaining assassins to fight. Raizo faces Takeshi and his ninja squad, engaging in a fierce battle. Raizo successfully defends himself against all the attacking ninjas, despite being wounded. But as he runs to meet up with Mika, more ninjas attack him along the way. Meanwhile, as Mika waits in her car for Raizo, she is suddenly attacked by a ninja. Mika is scared, and she starts her car and drives away. She manages to shoot the ninja in the leg, forcing him to retreat. However, as she leaves the parking lot, shurikens are thrown at her car, shattering the windshield. Fortunately, she escapes the attack. Meanwhile, Raizo is still fighting the assassins and manages to reach the streets of Berlin. The ninja clan pursues him, running through traffic to catch him. Takeshi fights Raizo and injures him in the stomach. As Takeshi was about to kill Raizo, Mika hits him with her car and escapes with Raizo. They find a motel to rest. While Raizo sleeps, Mika expresses her gratitude for saving her life
I wanted to thank you for saving my life.
and activates the beacon given to her by Maslow. She leaves and watches from afar, waiting for the task force to arrive, but the ninjas take Raizo instead. The task force arrives late, and Mika is found alone in the motel. She tells them Raizo is gone. While being transported to meet Master Ozunu, Raizo heals himself using the Ozunu healing technique. The vehicle eventually stops, and Raizo is presented to the Ozunu clan master. Master Ozunu tells him how disappointed he is in him for bringing shame to the clan. The clan master Ozunu schedules Raizo to be executed that night. At the execution stand, the Ozunu master addresses the other assassins and hits Raizo's kidney to cause him pain. Raizo tells Master Ozunu he's growing weak
You're getting weak.
and spits out the tracker. Takeshi shows the master the beacon, and the agency arrives just in time to fight the clan. The assassins fiercely defend their home, leading to a heated battle. Mika saves Raizo from the execution stand, and he thanks her. Raizo faces Takeshi and 4 other assassins in a close fight and defeats them. He then confronts the leader of the assassin clan, engaging in a deadly fight. The fight is intense, and Raizo nearly loses his life in the process. Mika rushes to assist Raizo and manages to help him. However, she is stabbed by the Ozunu clan master. Raizo gets angry and unleashes a secret technique, killing clan master Ozunu. Raizo carries Mika to safety. Maslow calls for a medic while Raizo touches her chest to revive her. Thankfully, Mika survives the stab because her heart was on her right side, and everyone returns home. Raizo revisits his old home and remembers Kiriko. He climbs the fence for the first time and smiles at freedom. In the end, Raizo's journey from a weapon of the Ozunu to a force of justice serves as a testament to the power of the individual to break free from the chains of their past and forge their own path. And that's the end of this recap. Don't forget to share and like the video to help this channel out. Thanks for watching and see you at the next one.